Hi, this is Emily Saliers from Indigo Girls, and you're listening to Rainbow Country.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the persons appearing on the program.
Today on Rainbow Country, a spotlight on queer music artist, Allan Blitz. Plus, my Big Brother Canada Season 12 coverage comes to an end. That and more in episode 405, so stay tuned for Gay Talk Radio right here on Rainbow Country.
Hello, my name is Conchita.
And I'm Barbecue.
And my name is Hardcora. And we are the Beat Girls.
You're listening to
Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Well, hello, and welcome to a brand new journey through Rainbow Country, as I like to call it. A little gay radio show working to give voice to the LGBT community and beyond. And as always, I am your tour guide through Rainbow Country. I'm producer and host, Mark Tara. By the way, Rainbow Country originates from CIUT FM in Toronto and now proudly in syndication on 12 outlets across Canada, from coast to coast to coast. The Yukon, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, the east coast of Canada in Newfoundland, Ontario, even down to Buffalo, New York, and online. Well, thanks to you tuning in, streaming, downloading, but ultimately listening. Together we continue to build Rainbow Country into a nationally syndicated gay radio show, a #1 LGBT podcast on Podomatic.com's Gay and Lesbian chart, as well as being recognized as a #1 Canadian LGBT podcast on feedspot.com. So today, singer-songwriter, photographer, and digital content creator Allan Blitz is my guest and joins me to talk about his current single, Prove Me Wrong, being part of the LGBT community, and more. Plus in hour 2, music from LGBT artists, independent artists, voices that we've come to know and love in classic disco, classic 80s, classic house. And on this episode, I'm featuring some classic house, some Canadian new wave, and more. All that lies ahead as we start Journey 405 through Rainbow Country. First up, to mark the end of my Big Brother Canada Season 12 coverage, the first of 2 exit interviews. Later on, we'll hear from the final 3. But up next, we hear from Todd Clements.
Lexus, in this moment, you hold all the power. You and you alone will now decide who is heading to jury and who will be in the final 3 for tomorrow night's season finale.
This is an extremely tough decision, but at this moment, history does take precedence. Todd, I'm so sorry, and I love you so much, but I vote to evict you.
Todd, I'm sorry you've been evicted from the Big Brother Canada house. Please say your goodbyes.
I love you, bro.
Oh, so glad. I can't wait to see you after.
I love you so much.
Toddinator. Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Labrador.
3-peat veto. Bye, Toddy!
Todd, hi, how are you?
Final 3, guys.
Not bad. Yourself?
I am good, Todd. I'm well. Todd, let's talk about that vote. That vote. Lexus voting you out. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, it was surprising. I don't think it's that big. I don't think it's that big of a surprise. Her and Anthony are pretty close since the beginning. I feel like at the end there was two duos, me and Bailey and Anthony and Lexus. Well, since the beginning of the game, I think we both stuck with our guns really and who we were there with the longest.
Todd, who would you say you were closest to in the game?
Bailey and Tola.
So you ended up leaving on Bailey's HOH, her head of household. What are your thoughts on leaving on Bailey's HOH?
It was my decision to put myself up there because in the end it doesn't really matter. It matters who wins the veto. And I was just looking at it in a sense because if I don't win, I want Bailey to win. I would have liked to go to final 2 or 3 with her, but at the end of the day, she got a close relationship with Anthony. And where this veto literally didn't matter who was on the block, I wanted her to just not compromise her position with Anthony. So it worked, but didn't work in my favor.
Todd, do you think that there was anything more you could have done to save your game?
No, not really. Just not mess up on that the HOH comp before and after that Bailey won. So I locked in an answer when I should have kept it on reset. Would have given me those extra couple seconds because as soon as the answer was locked in, I knew it was wrong. And I probably should have known it because it was Donna and Vivek, I probably should have had it right from the beginning because, I did it. I knew it in my mind after it was too late, but it is what it is at this point, and you just got to move on from it.
Okay, so Todd, would you say that you are new to Big Brother, that you know the game Big Brother, or that you are a super fan of Big Brother? Where do you fit in there?
I don't have a clue I didn't have a clue about Big Brother. I feel like I got a pretty good grasp on it now, but I think not having a clue about it and coming in and learning as I went was probably in my advantage because I never had anything to overthink or these big moves to formulate or having the need to make these big moves or anything like that because I didn't know what a big move even was when I first went in there.
So Todd, let's go back in time. You find out you're going to be on Big Brother Canada 12. Do you have a strategy going into the game?
My strategy was to just meet some people, start an alliance, but that's really not how it went. I know that's pretty vague, but it was kind of just something I Googled. And then when I got in there, my strategy just quickly changed and I just started asking questions to people that knew what they were doing. I've acted really dumb as well. Like I'd ask 4 dumb questions, then ask a really elaborate one. And then I would get information as well through asking my questions. And it's just something that I never shared with anyone else now to ruin anyone's game. But it's stuff that I definitely stored in my back pocket just for later on down the road. But there was a lot of trial and error as well, that being said.
So, Todd, you were nominated 3 times for eviction. You ended up winning 3 Power of Veto competitions. The competitions, what were those competitions like to compete in?
They were good. Like I said, I threw a lot of the competitions in the beginning because not knowing the game, I feel like I could have been someone who was an easier target because I wouldn't really know how to navigate around being on the block in the beginning because campaigning, I didn't even know what the hell that was even coming into the game. So I just waited till it was almost too late because then Spice used the executive veto on me, and that's when I opened my eyes and was like, all right, I got to actually start competing here and winning some things and step my game up a little, because that was a little too close to home.
Todd, what would you say was the most challenging part about this whole experience for you?
That's a good question. Just trying to decipher if people are bullshitting or not. But a lot of people were actually really easy to read, but it comes to a point when you don't know what's real or what's fake, or it just gets a little weird. But the fact of not being able to be outside and not seeing my friends and family was probably just the hardest part, because being in the house, it's like, I don't know, I adapt easily to situations and the different environments around me. So that being said, it's like, I don't mind being alone or anything like that. I'm at peace with myself being alone. So yeah, just mostly friends and family, I think.
Todd, here's my last question for you. Best part about being part of Big Brother Canada Season 12.
Oh, what's the best part?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez, my bad. Definitely meeting 13 people that'll probably be in my life for as long as I will, probably to the grave. And the overall experience is something on it, well, not particularly Big Brother, but just being on TV has been a bucket list item of mine, and I finally get to scratch it off. So the whole experience was beautiful and amazing, and it just makes you learn a lot about yourself and don't take time for granted, because it's one of the most misunderstood assets of life, and it goes by with a snap of a finger. And so you just gotta see everything in a different perspective from here, I believe.
Todd, well said. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. You have a great day.
When I return, a spotlight on queer artist, Allan Blitz.
I'm Sky Gilbert, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Terra.
Allan Blitz, hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Mark?
I am well. I have to say thank you for being here, to have your voice, your story be heard by the LGBT community and beyond. So thank you for that. You are a musician, you are a singer, a songwriter, a photographer. You are also part of the LGBT community. Let's start with music. Mm-hmm. How would you describe the genre of music that you do? Let's start there.
That can be a complex question because I sort of gravitate in between a few different genres. For instance, my first single, Reborn, it has influences of pop and rock. My second single, Alien, is fully on a metal hard rock track. The third track is a rap rock song, which I released in January 19th this year, and unreleased works. I know what's to come down, right? So there are a few also like different things. Where it all comes together really is that I am a rock singer. And when I think of, like some of my heroes, and by the way, I'm so honored to be here, especially like as a queer person. And speaking of my heroes, I was just connecting there, is, for example, if we think of Freddie Mercury, he had this ability, to kind of do the same in some ways, like gravitate toward transition and between genres, sometimes something a little more edgier, more rock and roll. And then you have soft ballads. And it's funny because like I'm not trying to be that. I just can never, like it's not that I'm trying to be that. It's just the way that I've always envisioned, really, It's kind of something
and it's
that
probably what your voice lends to.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, I was, like in terms of my voice itself, I was actually trained classically. I was going to be an opera singer originally. And then when,
a baritone, tenor?
I'm
what?
a tenor.
Mm-hmm.
I have a close friend. He actually describes me as a metal pop tenor. I was like, okay, that's weird, but it's, that's exactly, I think, what it is and what I am actually. So, yeah, I was going to become an opera singer. And then one day after school, I think it was like grade 8. I had a friend come over and he introduced me to a few heavy metal songs, and I was just so touched. I don't know if "touched" is the right word, but boy, I was just like really impressed, and like it really made a strong impression in my soul. When I heard the singing and the guitar, kind of it all coming together. And I know that, usually rock music is not really a genre that is too much associated with queerness. If we think of the, like mainstream outlets out there.
Mm-hmm.
However, to me, it only made sense because at that age, let's imagine like 13, 14, I was still like discovering myself and trying to understand myself. And not at that age, also different time. I was not fully accepting of my queerness. Perhaps 5 years later than that, around 19, that's when I started. My mind and everything sort of started coming together mentally for me.
Yep, I think I'm gay.
Yeah, I think I'm gay and I accept that. And that's the thing, right? And that's the thing. But back then, it was more like, what if I am gay? And then, of course, like, because it was a different time, it was not a topic. Being queer was not a topic that, the mainstream media, for example, was really interested in or talking about too much. That around like, I don't know, 2003, 4, 5-ish, those years. So to me, it only made sense because I was experiencing a lot of feelings of anger. And I found a release actually in heavy music where I was able to kind of let go of the anger that I had in me. Different kinds of anger for people that, would make jokes of me. I was dealing with bullying in school, of course, around that time too, as we do. People already making comments on my sexuality, and then myself like not being sure if that's what I was really. And I think that, that's totally fair around that age. I was just like a teenager in like 13, 14. But yeah, it caused, like a lot of feelings of anger is like, and then at night, my music, as I would rest on my lay my head on my pillow. It would not be like something relaxing. It would be like heavy rock, and it just felt like the best thing.
Do you have a favorite like rock or heavy metal band or a specific musician that inspired you, maybe vocally?
Vocally, yes. Vocally, by far, I think the one that inspired me the most, I would say, is Chris Cornell. He was the lead singer for Soundgarden and Audioslave. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But it's funny because I've always had this dream of, okay, maybe if I have a career, 30 years of execution, 40 years of execution ahead of me, maybe one day, but in these 30 years ahead of me, I'll be able to meet him. But life happens, right? So unfortunately, Chris is no longer with us, but he by far was, the vocalist that really inspired me. Another vocalist that I should mention too, heavy metal singer Rob Halford from Judas Priest. And what I love about Rob is that he's also gay. He's also gay. And it's the funniest thing because like when you see, the artwork and photos of the band in its early stages, maybe around late 70s, early 80s, it was like this guy just wearing leather, and it was like,
okay, that's one kind of a giveaway.
and I'm like, my God, how did people did not
he would
notice?
fit in at the Black Eagle.
He would fit at and that's exactly it. You nailed it. It was like, how did people not notice that this guy was gay? Like, and yeah.
But you wouldn't necessarily, because someone dressed in leather, it's universal, right?
Yes.
It's like you wouldn't necessarily pinpoint that. But in terms of a group though, do you have like a favorite heavy metal or rock band?
Soundgarden was one of them.
Okay.
And then Queen, I was definitely heavily influenced by Queen. Iron Maiden is another group that you can definitely hear an influence in my voice from Bruce Dickinson. That's their lead singer, and especially in the vibrato of my voice, I use a lot of vibrato. He has a very dramatic vibrato. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, like Judas Priest is actually with Rob Halford. He happens to be gay, but the music is great.
So Prove Me Wrong, this is your current single.
That's yes.
It also features a rap on it from a Toronto rapper,
Yes.
11 is his name, and he's also an ally to the LGBT community. Good for him.
Yes.
How did the two of you meet? Let's answer that question first. How did the two of you connect?
I love this story actually because it's kind of hyper local, and we met in Kensington Market actually.
Which is a unique kind of popular area in the heart of downtown Toronto.
Absolutely. So
it's very bohemian.
It's very bohemian, and so every Tuesday in Kensington Market, at the supermarket, there is what it's called the big,
which is a club, a restaurant club,
which is the club,
yeah,
yes,
a bar,
yes. There is what it's called the Big Fam Jam. So the concept of that is there's a band on stage. Any artist can go up and play with the band or sing with the band. So for a few minutes, people get a bit of a spotlight, and it's really cool. At the time I met 11, I had already seen a few different rappers, and everybody was, like a lot of really great artists, but energetically, I just felt like, why is this not? It just doesn't quite match the energy of the song yet. So one night, he went up there, and I happened to be in the audience. And I saw him performing, he actually freestyled. He didn't. So he was like just freestyling.
Making it up.
Yeah, making it
Yeah.
up, making it up. He was making
And
it
so
up.
why did you think that adding a rap to a rock song would be where did this idea come from?
As I was building the instrumental for that track originally, I sort of realized that it had the potential and some similarities with a bit of a Linkin Park kind of vibe, which is essentially a band that incorporated a lot of rap and rock singing at the same time. So as I finished the track, like I have a version that's unreleased and eventually will be released. That is just myself singing, and I'm just singing, not rapping. You do not want to see me rap. You do not want to see me rap. So I have that version, but I've always had that thought in my head, always poking me like, why do I feel like this would be just so much cooler with a rapper? So yeah, I happened to, so I put it out there for the universe, put the right person in front of me, and that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened. As soon as 11 got off the stage, I made a point to introduce myself, and we exchanged contacts. I sent him the track, and he was in.
So I have an interesting. I want to get your take on something, and I never know how to bring this up, but let's just go into it.
Yes.
It's like, gay, queer, gay. Like, what is it? What word do you use? How do you identify? All that sort of stuff. A few years ago, I did an interview with a lesbian couple. One was a lesbian, the other one was bisexual. And the bisexual person was on an app, a dating app, and had her profile say that she was bisexual. And so she started getting flack for that through the app, get off the fence, make a decision, that sort of thing. So then she changed it to queer. And so I asked her, why did you change it to queer? And she said, because she wanted ambiguity. She chose ambiguity over prejudice. Ambiguity over prejudice. And I thought that was so interesting because on one hand, I mean, hey, it's her decision, it's her choice. I totally get it and respect it. But on another level, it's almost as if she didn't feel comfortable enough to own who she was, to put it out there, and, like she was getting backlash, and it's like, to hell with the backlash, right? And so she chose the word queer instead of bisexual. And I'm curious, in terms for yourself and using the word queer as opposed to saying, I'm gay. Mm-hmm. For me, on a personal level, I don't necessarily use the word queer. I use gay. Mm-hmm. Professionally, like here on the show, of course. But for yourself, when you say the word queer, what are you referring to? Well, how does that reflect you as opposed to gay?
Mm-hmm. I, grabbing on one thing that you mentioned, I actually enjoyed her perspective that it means ambiguity. Because there's a few things I think attached to the word gay and even bisexual, like you said. Because when I think of bisexual, I'm also thinking of a sexual preference. And I think, like when I think of gay, same thing. Of course,
it's the same thing. And queer can be multifaceted. Does it reflect your your political views? All these sort of things. Mm-hmm. Gender expression, your gender identity.
Yes, yes. So I think, but it's funny because, when you think of queer and bisexual.
And another thing is, and what does queer mean today in 2024? Yes. Does it mean that you have sex or you've had sex with the same gendered person as yourself?
Yes.
it's a fair question to ask.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's to me queer. I use it more as almost if I'm referring to myself as queer, I am referring. I basic for myself and my experience. I attach the meaning of it as to somebody who's part of the LGBTQ community. And I use it in different contexts. I identified as gay for the longest time. And I think one of the things that I love about queer, the word queer actually is there is less of an attachment to the concept of gender, I would say. Because when I think of gay, I mostly think of a male, obviously we know that that's not true. I have, even lesbians friends, let's say, hey, I'm gay. Yeah, of course you are. That's totally fine. But the first thought, that comes to mind usually is attached to being male, let's put it that way. I think the word queer, what I like is that to me, it has more of a neutral tone to it in terms of gender. And for me personally, in my experience, I've been a little less attached to, I guess, the idea of gender as being black and white. And I like it more. I would like to think it more as gender as an idea of energy expression. Some days you may want to express a side of you that is more feminine. Some days I feel very masculine. Some days I don't feel so masculine, so I think, and that's the benefit, I think, of the word queer. When I think of gay, the word gay, I think, again, I think of more of a male. There's a bit of more of a male connotation. And it also denotes my sexual preference as well, that I, as a male, prefer
black men. I love men, like Eartha Kitt would say.
Yes. I love that.
But you know what I often say to that though?
Yeah.
It's like, I love men, but I don't love all men. Because I'm not attracted to 100% of men.
Preach. That's true. That's
I love
true.
men, but not all men.
And that's exactly it. So yeah, sometimes, for myself, I confess, I find myself nowadays sort of using both in different contexts. Especially there are days again, I really feel a little more feminine. There are days I feel more masculine. And my artist
comes down to your gender expression.
Absolutely.
And how you want to express yourself. And in terms of bringing this all up, what I see from getting a lot of, people wanting to come on the show and seeing a lot of bios and the word queer, and not necessarily like gay or lesbian or, that sort of thing, but seeing queer popping up time and time again, it's always like, so, but how does that relate to you as the person? So, that's why I like to bring it up when I talk to people like yourself. Here's my last question for you. Yes. What do you hope your audiences come away with after they've listened to your music? Maybe they've seen your work for the TSO, whether it's music or photography. What do you hope your audience comes away with after they've experienced Allan Blitz?
Music is always, when I think of that question, actually, it's funny because I always go back to my 14-year-old self. At around 13, 14, I actually suffered a gigantic trauma, psychological trauma, and that related to my let's say, my queerness, my queerness. And I found, the release that I was looking for in my music, in the heavy music that, like I said before, I would listen to right before bed. Just because I was not listening to Enya, it doesn't mean I had a teacher who used to say, "Yeah, Alan, I listen to Enya before bed. You listen to your heavy metal." Yeah, that's true. I do. So, I hope that people find something that they can relate to, because every single word in my songs is something that relates to my experience. It's something that comes from my soul. And I would never talk about a topic, if I hadn't experienced it before. I hate that, actually, to be honest. I'm not going to talk about a topic that I haven't lived through, which is why I actually loved your question about gay and queerness right here, because that's something that's been on my mind lately, and I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to discuss it right now. So yeah, I hope that they can take away something that they can relate to and find some comfort, even if it's, the music is heavy. There is light that can emerge from the darkness, just like I found. From photography, I just hope that they can look at my stuff and and sort of understand.
That looks kind of gay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope they can look at my stuff and say, "Wow, this was totally a gay man that captured this. Look at all these rainbows." Just kidding.
Look at that baton fly.
Look at the baton fly. He just had to capture that moment. Mm-hmm. The music, nah, just kidding. I really hope that people, look at my stuff and they find the truthfulness of the moment. They find the emotions. It's something that I always try to showcase in my photography work. Like people coming together, especially at the TSO and Roy Thompson Hall, which is our concert hall here in town. So just something, the raw emotions, that's usually what I aim for.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well said. Allan Blitz, well said, well done, well recorded. Thanks for your time and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Mark. So grateful that we found the time and that we did it.
That was my spotlight on Canadian queer artist Allan Blitz, who, by the way, also works with the Toronto Symphony Orchestra doing photography and digital content creation. For even more on this artist, simply visit allanblitz.com. By the way, in Hour 2, I'll be featuring his current single, Prove Me Wrong, featuring Toronto rapper 11. When I return, my Big Brother Canada Season 12 coverage comes to an end with the final 3.
Hi, this is Mo Berg from The Pursuit of Happiness, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Hi, I'm Jamie B. of TG CD Style Toronto, and I'm a professional feminization makeup artist and stylist providing male-to-female transformations and mentoring to those who identify as a cross-dresser or a trans woman. I first heard of Rainbow Country and Mark Tara in trying to find a radio station that specifically caters to the LGBT community, and I'm so grateful I found this station. It's crucial having a platform like Rainbow Country that welcomes all aspects of the queer community, including allies like myself and what I do. It casts a spotlight on specific needs and interests of human beings, ensuring that people from all walks of life are being validated. It's a real privilege to be able to work with cross-dressers and trans women by helping them align themselves with their feminine energy through the glorious feminization process. So, I want to thank Rainbow Country and Mark Tara for providing this platform for all of us.
Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Steve Grand. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I am well. Congrats on placing third. Well done to you.
Thank you so much.
Who do I have next? I have Jean-Claude Van Dougie, Dougalucci, Dougalicious. Oh, wait. It's Anthony Douglas.
Yeah. That
Anthony, a big congrats.
Thank you.
Runner-up. 2 seasons. Big congrats. I'm interested to know, Anthony, do you have a favorite nickname that you've given yourself? Let's start there.
A lot of people call me Dougie, but probably my IG handle, Dougielicious. I like Lord Douglas of Richmond, the Big Valboski.
Oh my God.
Sworn protector of the realm, light-skinned Lord of the North. There's lots.
Ragnar Lothbrok.
Yeah.
Lexus. Yeah. Lexus. Were you surprised that Anthony cut you at Final 2? Did that come as a surprise to you?
In the moment, I was very shocked. I was praying to God for days that he would win that, hoping that it would be a win for the both of us. So I was shocked, but I quickly got over it.
Anthony, you chose to take Bailey to Final 2. How do you sit with that decision today? Do you think you made the right decision?
It's kind of difficult because I'm very much so a stand on that type of person. I made the decision that I made based on where my mind was at in terms of the game. I truthfully believe that I had absolutely no shot at beating Lexus because of the people in the jury. And I truthfully thought that she played a way better game in my perspective than Bailey. So I thought that I would have a better shot against Bailey. And I had to make the decision that I made.
Alexis, you voted for Bailey in the finals.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that vote and why you made that particular decision.
Walking out of those doors, I did think I was going to vote for Anthony. There was a lot that was kind of said and revealed. And I just think that it was tough. It was tough. I feel like they both deserved it, which it's hard to come to a decision, especially in that moment. I didn't have time to think because I thought that it was going to be me and him. But at the end of the day, I think Bailey deserves it. And yeah.
Anthony, were you surprised by the jury votes?
Yes and no. I knew that the jury was going to be bitter with me. Nobody likes to get evicted. It's just the reality of the game. It's kind of a situation where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, depending on who goes to the jury house. I thought in my mind that the people in the jury house were more of game players rather than emotional players. And my jury management was just not as good as Bailey's. So she was rewarded with the win, and she deserved it.
Anthony, this is your second time playing Big Brother Canada. What was more challenging, navigating through season 12 or your original season 7? Which was more challenging for you?
I think season 12. On season 7, I was working with men that really looked up to me in the game. We kind of spoke the same. We've had similar experiences. And I think that it was just easier to speak to them and to understand them. This season was all women, which is a totally different ballgame. They talk different, they move different, they play different. And the thing about that is they stick together. So for me, it was difficult trying to get in between that and put myself in a position where they would choose me over each other.
Lexus, when it comes to the jury and the voting, do you think that this particular jury wanted to crown a female winner for this season? Do you think that was in the air?
For sure. From day one, we all felt like it was about time. There's obviously history in the show, and it's just time. Like, we wanted to be a season that stood out, be a season that could be inspiring and looked up to, and having a woman win was huge. And so, yeah.
Anthony, having heard that, what goes through your mind?
I knew that. Day one, there was a girls' alliance. Multiple people in that alliance told me about it. Day 5, day 10, day 15, day 20, every single day, I was hearing about it and seeing it. I knew that it was a thing. I knew that it was deep. And like I said, that's why I tried to get them to implode on each other a bit, turn against each other. I didn't think that it was so deep that regardless of who was in that final spot, they would get the votes. But the girls did a great job this season at sticking together, especially in the comps, and when it came time for nominations and evictions. So hats off to them. They did a great job, and yeah, great season.
My last question for the two of you, and Lexus, I'll start with yourself. Best part about being part of Big Brother Canada season 12?
Oh my gosh, that's such a loaded question that I don't even know if I have the answer to, because there are so many amazing things. It's truly a journey. It's an experience. You learn so much. You take away so much from this game. And you just, there was a lot of crying, a lot of laughter, such a variety of emotions that you're experiencing every single day, the unknown and trusting in the unknown and just trying to keep yourself centered, keep yourself self-assured. I just think that the journey was an incredible takeaway, and I'm really, really grateful to have experienced this.
Anthony?
Very similar to what Alexis said. This has been an incredible journey for me. Coming onto the show, I knew that I was going to be at a disadvantage. I didn't know to what extent, but I just wanted to make myself proud. I wanted to scream my friend's name, who recently passed. And I wanted to make all of my friends proud. I wanted to inspire. I wanted to be somebody that is relatable. There are many people who are going through things mentally in their life, many people who suffer from loss, and a lot of sadness. So I just wanted to be, a face and a relatable person that people can look at and realize that there's definitely dark days, but there's light days too. And, if we just keep our head up, the journey is quite worth the ride. So very happy, very proud of myself, the relationships I made. And a huge takeaway from this show for me.
Well said, Lexus, Anthony, to the two of you. Well said, well done, well played. Congrats.
Thank you.
Bailey, hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. Congrats on winning Big Brother Canada Season 12.
Thank you.
Generally speaking, how are you feeling?
I am feeling maybe the best I've ever felt. I'm in a dream. It has not set into me at all yet. I can't believe that I accomplished literally my biggest goal in life was to get on this show and win this show. And it just doesn't feel real for me right now.
Bailey, from my understanding, from what I know, you are the second, after Sarah Hanlon, you are the second woman, part of the LGBT community, in your case, a bisexual woman, to win Big Brother Canada. How does that make you feel, being part of Big Brother Canada history in that way?
Oh my gosh, that makes me so proud and so honored. I think it's really important, again, just to be who you are and represent exactly who you are, because you really don't know who's watching and who feels like they can relate to you, or, who you could inspire to also go after something like this. So that means everything to me. I feel very honored.
I am gay. This is a gay radio show. Well done to you.
Thank you.
Were you surprised that Anthony took you to Final Two?
I was, after I heard his reasons why. He's been telling me that he's taking me to Final Two for a long time now, and I believed him. Towards the end of this game, I truly trusted that he would bring me. I think that our relationship in the game was just a lot stronger than his relationship with Lexus. Even on a personal level, we just got very, very close, and I just didn't see him not taking me. However, when he made the speech about, he wants to take someone he can beat, I was very surprised that person in his mind was me. So I was fully expecting to hear my name, and I was getting ready to get up and walk out the door.
Bailey, do you think, in regards to the jury and the jury as a whole, do you think that they wanted to crown, whoever it would have been, wanted to crown a female winner this year? Do you think that was in their minds, in the back of their minds maybe?
I do think that the women in the jury definitely wanted to see that. I think it depended on who was sitting there. I think it would have been a very different situation if, it was Kayla sitting there, or maybe even Lexus sitting there next to someone who played a better game. I think that because they knew how much I wanted that maybe they saw themselves in me as well. So I did have a good feeling that if the women really meant what they said at the beginning of this game, then maybe I will have their vote. Just because I'm a woman, but I also wanted to be the right woman to win the game.
Your girlfriend was in the house. What did that moment mean to you?
Oh, she came into the house on the day of our anniversary also. It was insane. I waited 60 days to see her. It was a very long time. I'm so glad I got to experience that HOH and that I got to see her inside that house. It gave me the things that I needed to just push to the end of the game. I really needed to see her, and it reminded me of why I'm in here, who I'm doing this for, where my heart is, and who I am as a person.
Bailey, let's go back in time. You find out you'll be on Big Brother Canada Season 12. Did you have a strategy going into the game?
I did. I wanted, I think I said in my bio about the girls and the gays were people that I wanted to align myself with, first and foremost. I also really wanted to try and not play too hard, too fast. Like, just observe a little bit. I didn't do that. I went full force, head first into the game. But you have these strategies, but you also know that when you go in there, you're just going to have to adapt to what it is. All I knew was that at the end of the day, if I'm struggling, I just have to remember who I am and just be that person, and I'll figure it out.
Bailey, for yourself, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of this whole experience for you? What was the most challenging part?
I think the most challenging part of this game is trust, not knowing who you can trust, not even knowing if you can trust your own gut at times. You know, in the real world, you have resources, you have people that you can talk to and reassure you or bounce ideas off of. And in that house, you really feel super alone. So for me, being someone that constantly needs reassurance, and I'm always talking to my people or reaching for help when I need it, having those resources was very difficult for me, and only having to rely on my self-awareness and my gut feeling, my intuition. I was afraid that I could be wrong about people, about the game, about myself. So that was very scary, but a very interesting and cool learning experience to really only rely on what you have and what you worked on as a person. So, yeah.
Maybe you just touched on it, but what do you think this experience taught you about yourself?
It definitely taught me that I'm on the right path. Being myself is more of an asset than anything else I have to offer. I also think it taught me that I am truly a fighter, and my will to accomplish something in life and in the game is very, very strong, and that I should trust myself a lot more.
You won one head of household.
I did.
And you brought yourself to Final 3 with that HOH. Winning that HOH in that moment, what did that mean to you?
It lifted off a huge weight off my shoulders in that moment. It was like a thank God kind of moment, because all the stress and the anxiety and the pressure leading up to that just kind of went away with that one win, knowing that I was going to finale no matter what. I was weak at the knees. I fell to the floor. I couldn't handle just what that moment really meant to me, and just the overwhelming emotion that came over me. Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy moment, but it was much needed. It just felt like drinking water after being on a desert for days.
Bailey, here's my last question for you. The best part about being part of Big Brother Canada and winning it, season 12.
Oh my God, the best part. I think the best part is just being part of something so special and meeting these people and becoming, best friends and soulmates with these people, and that learning experience. What you take away from that, I'm coming out as the same person, but a better version. And that kind of experience in life can't be bought. So yeah, I think just the emotional connections that you make with other people and that you make with yourself is the best part about this game.
Bailey, well said, well done, well played. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Phone rings. I got a message from the mayor. He's going to call me back the next day. I get the call, and he said, if you'd accept, we'd like to honor you with the key to the city. There was an event later that year in May. Just a key, right? Like, key to what? A decent job, a good singing career. It's really a metaphor, but it's history. So a reporter wants to talk to me and says, so it's a key, right? Like, what's the big deal? I said, well, not everybody gets the key. So I looked it up, and I guess it is kind of a big deal.
The date, May 17th, 2018, when trans activist Susan Gapka made history by becoming the first trans woman to be presented with the key to the city of Toronto. By the way, past recipients include Rush and the Raptors. And just like that, this little gay journey through Rainbow Country has come to an end. For the full 2-hour episode, simply head over to marktara.com where everything is connected and hit the archives banner. To keep up to date with the show, check out my socials at Mark Tara. The podcast is available on all major platforms. And finally, I want to take this time to thank you for taking your time to be with me. Remember, we are living in days of making dreams come true, so believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you.
Hi, this is Police Constable Danielle Botno, also known as LGBT Cop, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.